I want to start with a question for you, a really personal one. Have you ever had that nagging feeling that you are capable of so much more, but for some reason, something just keeps holding you back?
You know the feeling. This is the time you're finally going to wake up early, you're going to feel energized, ready to go, the time you finally get disciplined, fix those habits, and really, truly take command of your life. You've got the plan. It's perfect. You know exactly what you need to do.
And it feels incredible, right? You can feel that momentum building, you have clarity, you feel like you're in control. It feels like the new you is finally here, and this time, it's for good.
But then, something shifts. It's almost invisible, and you start sliding back into the old patterns. And let's be clear, it is not because you're lazy. It's not because you don't care. It's something deeper. It's like this invisible force that just seems to hit a reset button no matter how hard you fight it. It is that classic, frustrating feeling of 2 steps forward, 1 giant step back. Well, that quiet frustration, that endless cycle of starting and stopping, that is the exact reason Tony Robbins wrote Awaken the Giant Within.
You see, this is where most of us get it wrong. We're taught that failure comes from things like a lack of motivation or discipline. But the book argues the real problem is way deeper. It's all internal. It's a lack of control over our own emotional state. It's the inability to make a true, committed decision. And it's having an identity that's fundamentally tied to our old self.
And here's the tough psychological truth behind all of this. Your brain isn't actually your biggest fan when it comes to growth. Its #1 job is survival and certainty. So it will almost always prefer a familiar pain over the uncertainty of what it takes to grow. It's a safety mechanism designed to keep you in your comfort zone, even if that zone is making you miserable.
So, let's just get one thing straight right now. If you're looking for a quick dose of motivational hype that's just going to fade in a week, this isn't it. Tony Robbins is not here to motivate you in that typical sense. In fact, he's here to show you exactly why that kind of motivation is almost always destined to fail.
This book is about something far more practical, far more permanent. Think of it like a user's manual, an operating system for your own mind. It's all about gaining direct, conscious control over your emotions, your focus, and the very story you tell yourself about who you are.
So, what is this giant that we're supposed to awaken? Well, it's not just confidence or willpower. The giant is your untapped power to make a real decision. The kind of decision that cuts off all other possibilities. It's that moment you finally draw a line in the sand and you declare, this is what I will no longer accept in my life, and this is who I am now. That is the power we all have, but so few of us ever truly use it. You know, real, lasting change, the kind that actually sticks, it rarely happens when you feel good or inspired. It happens when the pain of staying where you are finally becomes greater than the fear of changing. It's a breaking point. It's a moment of absolute clarity where you decide, you don't just hope, that things are going to be different. And this really boils it down to 2 fundamental ways of living. On one side, you've got reactive autopilot. That's a life run by feelings, by circumstances, by whatever's happening around you. It's a life of, I hope things get better. But on the other side, you have conscious command. This is a life that is directed by your intentional decisions, by a clear set of values. It's a life of, this is who I am. This entire book is the bridge from one side to the other.
This explains why so many of us get all fired up at a seminar or after watching a video, only to find ourselves right back where we started a month later. You see, positive thinking alone is kind of like putting a new coat of paint on a broken engine. Unless you understand and recondition the deep emotional patterns that are actually driving your behavior, that inspiration will always fade. And this brings us to the central driving question of the whole book. What is the fundamental difference? Why do some people seem to change in an instant while others stay stuck in the same patterns for decades? It's not intelligence. It's not about opportunity. It's something else.
And here's where we get to the core of the answer. You might be thinking, hey, this book was written a while ago. The world is totally different now with smartphones, social media, all this distraction. And you'd be right, the world has changed. But the one thing that has not changed one bit is the operating system running inside of us. These are timeless human challenges. Our deep, fundamental wiring to seek pleasure, to avoid pain, to fear what other people think, and to put off the hard choices, that is just as true today as it was 30 years ago. And that's why this book is arguably more important, more relevant now than it has ever been. It gives you the tools for self-mastery in a world that is practically designed for distraction.
So, just a word of warning, this isn't a passive read. This explainer and the book it's based on, it's going to confront you. It will force you to really look at the standards you've been tolerating, the excuses you've normalized, and the identity you've been protecting, even if it's the very thing holding you back. This is a tool, and like any powerful tool, it only works if you actively use it.
And this is the crucial point that brings it all together. The gap for most of us isn't a knowledge gap. We know we should eat better. We know we should exercise. We know what to do. The real challenge is closing that gap between what we know and what we actually do consistently. This book is about building the internal structure that makes doing what you know almost automatic. So if you really want to change your life, you have to first understand the forces that are currently shaping it. In the next explainer, we'll dive into Chapter 1 and the single most powerful force that dictates your entire life, your standards. We're going to explore why your life, right now, is a direct reflection of what you're willing to tolerate and how to raise those standards for good.